had a bar mitzvah at 13, but never really understood what that meant.
My parents didn't really know because they didn't have a Jewish education, right? Growing up in a communist country, religion is kind of outlawed.
My sister and I were the only Jewish kids in the school system of Bloomington, Minnesota.
I was raised Christian because my father is Christian and my mom, even though she's Jewish, she converted to Christianity.
I grew up in a Jewish town and I knew I was Jewish and that meant something to me, but I didn't know exactly what that meant to me.
And then there was actually the financial aspect of it too, was a little intimidating. I kind of was aware vaguely that there wasn't a lot of money in the family.
My mom didn't have a bat mitzvah, my grandmother didn't have a bat mitzvah. It was something in my family that only the men did.
I didn't read Hebrew, I didn't know the prayers, and I always felt these imaginary eyes looking down at me like, oh, what are you doing? You don't even know, you've never had a bar mitzvah, do you really belong here?
It hurt that I felt that I was an outsider really in my own religion, and I didn't have enough background to participate.
And my mother said, you should be proud that you're Jewish, and she gave us books about the Holocaust and really reinforced that. But she also reminded us that when we went to school, we should probably not volunteer the information that we were Jewish, because she was afraid of what the other kids or their parents or our teachers might say or what they might do, how they might discriminate against us.
There were people who had gone to Hebrew school and had been brought up a little bit more religious than I was. And so there were things that they connected to, that they understood, that I kind of just nodded and smiled the whole way through. Yeah, I get that, yeah, I understand, but I really didn't. And I was sort of too embarrassed to ask questions at the time.
I felt like I couldn't really open up to people because if I told them that I hadn't had a bat mitzvah, they would have been like, oh, you're not really Jewish, you don't really know anything.
When I found out that I could do the bar mitzvah program, I absolutely felt like I was being given another chance at being Jewish again.
I get this email, it was the bat mitzvah program, which was the basics. What are the Jewish holidays and why do we celebrate them? And how do we celebrate them?
It's not pushy, it's sort of go at your own pace. It doesn't matter what sort of history or upbringing you've had.
We're learning words and we're sounding things out, and we don't always know what all the words mean because we're still learning Hebrew, but we're starting to learn our letters and we're going like Shabbat. Oh, Shabbat, we know that word.
Each class built to this goal of helping you shape your life as a Jewish person and be able to make informed decisions.
When we went to a synagogue, we were shown this is the bima, and this is why we have this, and this is why the light is always on top of the Torah, and here is the Torah, like put out right in front of you. I've never been that close to a Torah that was actually taken out from, the arches in the synagogue. So that was amazing.
You know that you stand under a chuppah when you get married. You know that you stomp on the glass, but you don't really know why. And those are the kinds of things that you learn. It's sort of like the Judaism 101.
One night, there was a wedding that took place, and Rabbi Lawrence basically went from A to Z and taught us or showed us what a Jewish wedding was like. And I was fortunate enough to be the groom at the wedding, and it really made me feel like this was me, this was where I was gonna be, and made me realize that I couldn't wait to get married the Jewish way, not just any other way.
Right after the Bar and Bat Mitzvah program, it was Passover. And I was able to not only talk to my family about what Passover really was all about, but I was able to read the 4 questions with my niece in Hebrew. And just tears were rolling down my face because it was such an amazing experience to see it all come together, finally. Be able to read, understand what I was saying, understand why I was saying it, and show my whole family that it worked.
I'm going to synagogue now because I want to go, not because my dad goes.
I finally felt Jewish, for real.
When I went to services for the high holidays that year, I could actually follow along. Just being able to follow along, it meant so much to me.
I'm sure that my great-grandparents and the descendants of my family who passed away in Eastern Europe under communist rule probably were thinking that they are the dying breed. that Judaism may not exist. They'd be elated to know that Judaism did not die, that it continues, and with my children it will continue, and with my grandchildren it will continue, and I will see to it that it continues.
I have these new, almost childlike eyes because I haven't grown up with it my whole life, and I don't take it for granted. But I definitely don't ever see a point where I won't be involved in Jewish activities and community.
Because I feel so blessed and so fortunate that I was able to be the receiver of all this great knowledge and information, and to finally feel like I've been officially welcomed and accepted into Judaism.